Okay, so by now, hopefully you've had a chance to go through and unlock the hidden ending inside of Roblox Piggy Book 2, and if you have, that means you've seen all the cutscenes, both of them, and you probably have a bunch of questions. Like, for example, what in the world did the military do to the group after they left? Or quite possibly, what in the world is happening in the end credits scene? We see that Zizzy is back and alive and well and no longer infected. And then we also see that someone is actually watching us from inside the Insolence. Is Dude Man still alive? Is this version of Zizzy actually a memory? Is she actually still dead? Well, we're actually going to be answering all of that in this video, so be sure to sit back, enjoy, watch until the end. And as well, if you're new to the channel or if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that like button down underneath the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be having a lot more Piggy videos coming out on Inner City, on the ending of this, and some more secrets that you probably don't know about. But with that being said, let's go ahead and let's hop into the ending of Roblox Piggy Book 2. So once you get the code in the door, the secret, true, hidden ending unlocks, and well, it actually starts off quite similar to the other ones. The player tells Mimi to radio for some help on her little radio, and then we actually show up to the room that has the cure in it, where we find Willow and Tigray fighting. And actually, from the looks of it, it looks like Willow has actually beat Tigray, so I guess that argument is settled. Willow did in fact beat Tigray. But before Willow can do anything to Tigray, we actually convince them both to stand down, put their differences aside, and carry on with the mission. Willow and Tigray have a little back and forth conversation about how they're very similar, how they have a lot of pain in their past, and then Mimi actually shows up behind us telling us to come outside immediately. We're gonna want to see this. So we grab the potion, we head outside, and that's when a giant Osprey helicopter shows up out of nowhere, flies down, lands on the ground, and out of the helicopter, the door opens. We see a few live military soldiers, and we're also greeted by Sergeant Monroe. He basically says that he heard the distress call sent out by Mimi on her radio, and he also recognizes Willow and Tigray. Willow for being a well-known criminal, and Tigray because, well, he was actually in the military. Sergeant Monroe calls him a deserter, which means at some point Tigray just up and left the military. He deserted them. We don't really know why or when this happened, but apparently the military is not too happy with him. This would also explain why Tigray has a military beret on his head. I guess we just never really thought about that. Anyway, Pony explains that they found the cure. They found this potion, and then before the conversation can continue, a bunch of infected pop up out of the ground out of nowhere. Sergeant Monroe tells the military to ready their weapons, and right before they start firing on the infected, we get teleported into our memories. The screen flashes, Dude Man appears on the screen, and actually he reveals what his actual name is. He says that we can call him a few different names, but his main name is Tio, the Insolence Overseer. So for the rest of this video, I'm just gonna call him Tio because that's what his name says right here. Anyway, Tio says that he warned us not to follow down this path, and if we did, there was gonna be consequences. Tio says that he can't allow the military or us to take this cure because if the cure gets out to the world, there's gonna be wars over it, which does in fact make sense. The entire world has been crumbled down, there's zombies everywhere, and suddenly a cure pops up. Everybody's gonna want this cure, everyone's gonna start fighting for it, there's gonna be wars all over the place, and well, Tio in his weird mindset and view of the world, he sees that as a bad thing, so he doesn't want that to happen. So Tio actually turns into this giant hulking beast, this giant cool looking, scary looking monster, which by the way, I actually asked the creator, Supernob123, I asked her what his name is here in this form. She called him Sigma Tio, so that's what we're gonna call him for this video, Sigma Tio. And then while the cutscene ends and we're inside of a hallway, inside of our memories, and we have to run through this hallway solving puzzles, getting to the end, all the while being chased by Sigma Tio. And when we reach the end of the hallway, we actually get teleported inside of this Insolence maze, where surrounding all of us are the memories of the past. Pony's actually getting attacked by his infected father. We see an infected version of Zizzy attacking her sister Zuzi. We see George getting attacked by Penny, and he's about to fall off a ledge. And so what we have to do is actually find weapons around the map to defeat these memories. And then once we help Zuzi, once we help Pony, once we help Georgie, the second floor of this maze actually opens up. And that's when we realize that if we're inside of our own memories and Tio is chasing us inside of our memories, that we can actually use our memories to fight him. So we head upstairs where we find Bunny, Doggy, and Zizzy herself. We give them each the respective item. We give Zizzy the grass, we give Doggy the dog bone, and Bunny the carrot, and then all three of those characters go and fight Tio. They take him out, the cutscene begins, Tio just kind of crumbles into the ground screaming. The screen then flashes back to white, we wake back up in the real world where we we find that the military has taken out all the infected around us, they've secured the perimeter, and everything seems to be in order. This is when Pony decides to hand over the cure to the military, and it's also when Tigray and Willow decide to make up. And yes, I said make up, not the other word. They decide that it's best to put their differences aside, and they're gonna leave the main group and start traveling together on their own. So we're probably gonna end up seeing them in Piggy Intercity. Before any more conversating can take place though, the military says that it is time to go. It's time to wrap things up. It would appear that everyone gets onto the Osprey, and then, well, that's it. The end credits start playing. But that's not it, because after the end credits scene, Minitoon pulls a Marvel, and there's actually an after credit scene. The after credit scene opens up. We're inside of Kona's lab. We see the entire group here. Giraffe's here, Mimi's here, Pony, us, Zizzy's sisters, and actually Zizzy. Zizzy is back. She's alive. She's no longer infected. She's perfectly healthy, and her and Pony are actually having a conversation about the price of carrots. The camera then zooms out a little bit, and we get the giant cliffhanger ending, the big plot twist. Someone or something, possibly Tio, is watching us from inside the Insolence. We see that one weird Insolence wall signifying that this isn't quite over yet. And then that's it. That's where the story ends. Now, a lot of this is actually pretty straightforward. Like, for example, we find out that Pony's father and, well, probably the rest of his family is infected. We found out that Tigray used to be in the military and he left them for some reason. And we also found out why Tio didn't want us to get the cure. But of course, that leaves us with a lot of questions in that after credit scene. What in the world is going on? Now, there's actually two theories for this end credit scene, and you can let me know down in the comment sections below which one you think fits best. Which one do you agree with? Now, both of these theories that I'm about to tell you are pretty good, but both of them also have their holes. And what I mean by that is neither one of them really make 100% sense, but I'll let you decide down in the comments. Theory A, or theory number one, is actually that this end credit scene takes place sometime in the future. The military has been given the cure. Remember, Pony gave the cure to the military at the end of chapter 12. The military made more of the cure by using their scientists that they have inside the military. The military would then share some of that cure with the group, with Pony and the rest of the group for, helping secure it. And then Pony and the rest of the group would go find Zizzy, give her the potion and successfully save her. That's theory number one. A big, happy ending for everyone. But there's actually two problems with this theory. The first problem is the last time we saw Zizzy, she was actually getting yoinked in the middle of nowhere. We actually don't know where she went. Mr. Tio showed up and Zizzy got yoinked through a portal, and that was the last time we saw her. So the question then is, how in the world did the rest of the group even find her? We know Zizzy was infected, but if she got yoinked and teleported to the middle of nowhere, how did we find her? The refinery's not there anymore. It got blown up. So even if we had the cure, how would we find Zizzy to give it to her? That just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now, theory number two, and this is actually the darker theory of the two, actually has to do with this Insolence door, this Insolence wall that we see at the end credits. Because every time that we've seen this door, this wall, whatever in the world this portal looking thing is, it has signified that we're actually having a hallucination, that we're actually inside of our memories. For example, whenever we were in book 1 in the hospital and we hallucinated that Doggy was there, we were seeing that door. At the end of chapter 12, the plant, when we were fighting Mr. P and Ghost Bunny and Ghost Doggy were showing up, that was actually inside of our head. We saw that door. And so theory number two says that since we're seeing this door, that also means that all of this that we're seeing is a giant hallucination. We're still in our memories, which would mean that when we defeated Tio by using Bunny, Doggy, and Zizzy, and then we woke back up in the real world, well, we actually never woke up in the real world. We're still inside of our head. We're still inside of our memories. Tio made it look like we woke back up in the real world, but in reality, we're actually still inside of our head. Now, with everything we know about the story and the Insolence, this theory makes the most sense. The only issue with it is that if all of this is still inside of our head, that means our bodies are still just sitting there in the snow, right where we left them, right in front of the military, right in front of Sergeant Monroe. And I don't think I really need to spell out the problem with this, but if your body's just sitting there in the snow for days or weeks or months on end, you're gonna get hypothermia, you're gonna get frostbite, you're gonna, die of starvation or dehydration. Because if all of this is happening inside of our head still and our body's still just sitting there in the snow, well, our bodies are going to die. So as you can see, both Theory A and Theory B have some issues, but they're both all we got. So let me know down in the comment section which theory you think is correct, or if you have your own theory on the endings. I'm going to be making another video on how all of this ties into the next Piggy game, Piggy Inner City, because that's where the story will continue. That's going to be the book 3, so to speak. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video whenever it comes out. I'm probably going to get it out sometime this week. Thank you guys for watching though. Hopefully this helps explain the ending, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!